and welcome to beautiful Schoonmaker Marina in Sausalito. We're excited that you've decided to join ETC today on a paddle around Richardson Bay. But before we get out on the water, we're going to have to talk about a couple things. First, we'll talk about the boat, and then how to paddle, and then a quick safety talk before we get on the water. First, we're going to get dressed for kayaking. The first layer of clothing is the splash jacket. We put the splash jacket on with the size description on our back. And you can tighten up the Velcro as tight as you would like it. Next is the spray skirt, which you can step into or put over your head. The spray skirt has two buckles, one over each shoulder, just like suspenders, which you can adjust so that the spray skirt, top of the spray skirt, is right in the middle of your chest. Feel free to tighten by clenching down on the cinch cord. The last layer of clothing is the life jacket, or personal flotation device. Clasp the buckles in front. There's two of them together first before zipping up. And make sure that the shoulder straps and the three side straps on each side are pulled tight so that the life jacket fits very tightly on your body. Make sure all remaining buckles are buckled and strapped. Now I'm going to talk to you about the boat. Kayaks have been used for over 4,000 years, originally by Inuits and Aleuts, indigenous to the Arctic and Alaska. They were originally called hunting boats, which the word kayak means, and were made from bones and sealskin. We start at the front of the boat, also known as the bow, where we find a carrying handle. Moving backwards, we have deck lines, a front hatch, which we use to store things, bungees in front of each cockpit, where we can store water bottles and other things that we want easy access to. Moving back, we have the cockpit with the gray coaming around the cockpit, which attaches to our skirt. We have the seat, and inside, on either side, we have the foot pegs, which our feet rest upon. More bungees for the rear cockpit to be able to put something in. The rear cockpit. More bungees. A rear hatch. More bungees. More deck line. The rear carrying handle. And the rudder, which we use to turn the boat. The person sitting in the back of the boat always controls the rudder. By pushing your right foot in, the boat will turn right. By pushing your left foot in, the boat will turn left. We always want to carry the kayak with the appropriate amount of people so that we can ensure our own physical safety. We carry a single with 4 people. 1 person on the back handle, 1 person on the front handle, and 1 person on either side of the cockpit. A double we would carry then with 6 people, and a triple we would carry with 8 people. Next I'm going to talk about getting in and out of the boat and sitting while in the kayak. Because these boats are made of fiberglass and plastic, we never want to stand inside of the cockpit. Instead, we sit just behind the cockpit with our feet still on the ground. You can either straddle the boat, or if it's easier, have your feet to the same side. Next, we want to kick the sand and whatever else is on our feet off of our feet. Swing our feet inside. Push down on the coaming, up and over the seat back until we're sitting in the cockpit. It's best to sit as vertical or as straight up as possible with our bottom as far back towards the seat back as possible. The position of our legs we want frog style, which means the knees we want towards the sides of the cockpit, and the feet will have a little bit turned, resting on the foot pegs. Thus we're wearing our kayak with 5 points of contact: our seat back, our 2 knees, and our feet. To attach the skirt, you put the elastic underneath the back first of the coaming. Then, holding the lasso or the life loop out, we are going to attach the front and then the sides. In order to exit, you'll simply grab the loop, pull forward, and then pull back. Push up on the coaming, sit back on the back of the cockpit, swing our feet out, and get out, remembering never to stand in the kayak. These kayaks are very stable and we rarely have a capsize. Nevertheless, it's important to know what to do in the event of a capsize. First, you're going to want to smile and remain calm. Second, you're going to feel down your torso until you find the coaming and follow the coaming up to the front until you find your loop. Next, you'll pull the loop forward and then back until the skirt is free of the coaming, and you'll push up and out of the cockpit. Your life jacket will bring you to the surface of the water, and then you'll want to first thing grab your boat. If you're able to grab your paddle and hold on to that as well, that's extra. But most importantly, we want you to hang on to the boat. A guide will soon be there to give you more instruction on how to get back in your boat. Next, I'm going to talk about the paddle. The paddle is how we move ourselves once we're on the water. It's made up of the shaft and the blade. We want to grab the shaft loosely with our hands so that our hands are about shoulder width apart. To center our hands on the shaft, we can put the paddle on top of our heads so that it bounces, and grab it with our hands so that we form a 90-degree angle with our elbows. To orient the blade, we want the concave side of the blade facing us. Usually that side will have a sticker as well. Also, if you'll notice, there is a longer side to each edge of the blade. We want this longer side on top. In order to move forward, we'll do a forward paddle stroke. Rotate your right shoulder forward until the right blade is near your toes, maintaining that 90-degree angle with your elbows. Dip the blade in the water so that the water comes up to the top of the blade, and pull back, pushing at the same time with your left hand until the blade is just behind your waist. At that point, you'll see your left shoulder is rotated forward and your left blade is ready to go into the water and pull back as well. Doing this, we will move forward. Backward stroke. Rotate your right shoulder forward, and instead of dipping that left blade in the water, backward stroke. Rotate your right shoulder forward, and instead of dipping your right blade in the water, dip your left blade in the water, pushing the water forward and away from you. Then dip your right blade in the water and push forward and away from you as well. This movement will help us go backwards. In the event that we're about to run into something, it is important to call out to that something if it is a person or another boat. Then we're going to want to stop and maybe go backwards. The best, most efficient way to stop is to do 3 quick back paddle strokes. Then if we need to back up, go ahead and do the back paddle, looking behind you occasionally to ensure that you don't run into anything. person in the front of the kayak sets the pace, and the person in the back of the kayak matches that pace. This will ensure smooth kayaking on the water and the best speed. It's important to maintain the 90-degree angle with your elbows when you're paddling. This will ensure that we don't overwork our shoulders and arms, and we utilize the core ab muscles to power us through the water. We're almost ready to get in the water, but before we do so, we do a last-minute safety talk.
Sorry, half your face is dark. Okay. Cool.
We're almost ready to get in the water, but right before we do so, we'll do a last-minute safety talk. Personal safety. First, we want to maintain being hydrated. Always carry a full water bottle with you and make sure you're drinking it at all times. You can store the water bottle underneath the bungees in front of your cockpit. Next, personal protection. Always put on sunscreen, even if it's foggy, you can still get burnt. A hat helps as well to keep the sun out of your face, and sunglasses help protect the eyes from the sun and the glare of the sun off of the water. Always make sure you're warm enough, and if you need another layer, don't be afraid to ask a guide. Like I mentioned before, these boats are very stable and rarely do we ever have a capsize. In the event of a capsize, however, it is important to know what to do. So I will repeat here again. First, you're going to want to smile and remain calm. Second, we'll feel down our torso until you reach the coaming, and follow the coaming up until you reach the loop of your skirt, pulling forward and then backwards first to release the skirt from the coaming. Pushing up and off of the coaming will release ourselves from the cockpit, and our life jacket will bring us to the surface of the water. The next thing you're going to want to do is grab onto the boat and make sure that you stay close to it. If you're able to grab onto your paddle as well, that is extra credit, but not as necessary. The most important thing is to hold on to the boat, wait for a guide who will soon be there to give you more instruction on how to get back in your boat. Launching procedure. While we're waiting to get on the water, a guide will go out first. Wait for a guide, another guide, to pull you in the water. And then you can practice paddling out in the marina while everybody else gets on the water. Avoid hitting the bigger boats, and if you find yourself getting close to them, feel free to push off using your hand. Never push off using your paddle. When everybody is on the water, we'll leave the marina together. Okay.
Whistles.
On the water management. Once on the water, we'll try and stick as close together as possible, forming a pod. The lead boat will be the guide in front. We don't want anybody in front of the lead boat. The sweep boat will be the guide in the rear of the pod, and we don't want anybody behind the sweep boat. If you find yourself closer to the sweep boat, feel free to paddle a little bit harder to try and get up closer to the lead boat. There will be guides roving throughout the group that you may feel free to ask any questions while you're on the water. Whistle commands while on the water. One blast means tighten up. The people in the front can stop paddling and let the people in the back get closer to them. Two whistle blasts means raft up. Go ahead and paddle up to the person holding up their paddle, and feel free to grab onto the deck lines of the kayaks and pull them next to you. Careful not to crush your fingers as you form a flotilla. Three blasts means emergency. Heads up, pay attention, and look for the closest guide and wait till they give you further instruction. Waves. Waves are formed from wind and other boats. Always turn the nose of your boat directly into the wave. and keep paddling. Don't ever lean away from the wave. Always lean towards the wave. This will ensure the best chance we have not to capsize in the event that there are big waves. Once we make it to our destination, we will go through the landing procedure. Do not land until instructed to do so by a guide. At that point, a guide that has already landed on the beach will instruct you as to where to land and when to do so. Always point the nose of your kayak towards the beach, perpendicular, so that you form a T with the beach. The beach being this being the kayak. That'll ensure your greatest safety while landing. Once you are on land, wait for instructions from the guides to see where you can help. The last thing to remember is to have fun. We're glad you're here, and thank you for paddling with ETC.